What is up, and welcome to a surprise episode of the Drop Step. I don't know which number this is going to come out as because I'm doing the time is November 30th, 1 a.m. Make Me a Better Man by Malcolm Todd was playing before that. Yeah, this is going to be an episode of the Drop Step. I am down a rabbit hole at 1 in the morning now. Thinking about Team USA 2028. I don't know why, but I just rewatched the 2024 gold medal game against France. The Steph Daggers over Yabusele, over Fournier. And it's just some of the most competitive basketball that I've ever seen. And it's one of the greatest games of all time because of Team USA and the names that are a part of it. But this group had some just elite tenacity. I have, in this episode, created my 2028 roster for the Team USA. Some projection, some politicking. I really like the team that I built. It's loosely compared to this team because this team was so incredible. The 24 team is so incredible to watch, and they were so intense about how they came about it, especially with LeBron, Steph, and KD, and Booker, and the Booker comments. And this team was something super special. I just want to go down what this roster looked like. It was LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, Devin Booker, Tyrese Halliburton, Drew Holiday, Anthony Davis, Derek White, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and Bam Adebayo. Just a awesome mix of talent, skill, athleticism, defense, shooting, and a just mentality that this team brought when they got together is super interesting. And I hoped I could bring some of that to this 2018 that I built. I do want to go over some names that won't be on. I'll go over some names before and some names after that are not going to be on my team. But I want to really focus on the defensive intensity that the 24 team brought. Even though they are not all elite defenders in the NBA, everyone took on different roles and acted the part because this 24 team is insane. Also, rewatching that game, obviously all good teams should be great in transition. This 24 team just moved so perfectly in transition. They knew when to get Steph the ball in the transition. Steph, so many just pump, one dribble sidestep, get a shot off. So many of those in this game and that entire playoff run. Obviously, they take off against Serbia. I believe they were down in that one, and then they come back and beat Jokic in Serbia. Basically, I'm building a team identity. There needs to be an identity of some toughness, some grit, and a big reason why this 24 team is special is because they felt the pressure. They truly felt the pressure that Olympic basketball for the United States might be at its lowest that it has been, especially after the FIBA trips that had like Jalen Brunson on those teams. Not shots fired, but I'm going to talk about Jalen Brunson in a sec because of like those teams where they kind of undercompeted and they haven't looked the best in the last couple of Olympics and the FIBA tournaments. And this group, the Avengers group that they dubbed themselves, was legit and should be characterized as such. I mentioned Jalen Brunson because he does not end up making my 2028 team. At this point in time, Jalen Brunson will be in his early 30s, obviously, but I just don't think that his play style. I'm more so his size. I don't think his size plays on this team on my 2028 roster. I can see one spot that you could argue for, but it's besides that, not really. Also, I'm thinking some natural regression from getting a little bit older I don't. Jalen Brunson's still going to be right, and he plays the game the right way. He should definitely be involved in the deep talks of making this team. He just didn't make the list for me. Um, Other guys that did not end up making, like top end guys that I want to talk about now. Jaylen Brown did not make my roster. It's just not going to happen for me. I know there was the beef last time where I don't know if Team USA even invited him to their workouts where he was dismissed pretty early. I forget. He doesn't find his way on my roster unless in these next 3 years he is a number one on his own team, and the playmaking is a lot better, and the shooting is better, and he's like a number one. Just at this point in time, at November 30th, 2025. I don't think Jaylen Brown makes. I don't think Jaylen Brown makes the 2028 Olympic team. I feel like there's other guys of this ilk that I should. I feel like there's one more guy on this list that I should be bringing up. I don't know if I have him written down. I don't think I do, but I would like to add Donovan Mitchell to that list of guys that I just don't think. I just think the size is going to be a problem at that size. This 2024 team, when it comes to like lack of size, we're talking about Steph, who's truly the only outlier on this team who is not a like known or an elite defender. The only other smalls on this team truly are Derek White and Drew Holiday, and they're the two best defensive guards in the game, or were at this point in time. Edwards, I guess you could say, at 6'4", but Edwards is pretty elite at point of attack. He is just going at Fournier in the French final. Fournier's trying to bring up the ball in the second quarter, and Edwards is just all over his handle, just not even giving him an inch. But that's really, Halliburton's not even that small, but I guess he's the only other guard on this team. Didn't end up playing. Halliburton is going to make the 2028 team. He's legitimately, this is me expecting that Halliburton and Tatum come back from Achilles tears super clean and are able to come back and be the guys that they were pre-injury, and hopefully at their young age still have room to improve. I'm best case scenario for both those guys, and obviously everyone on this list, it's best case scenario for injuries and stuff, like what I'm projecting, kind of. Hopefully all these guys are even healthy to play in this tournament. You know what I mean? Shit could happen. Along the same lines of Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, kind of the more ISO heavy games. All right, not ISO heavy, but kind of ball stopper-ish. I know Jalen Brunson has kind of passed those allegations playing in the Mike Brown system, but still, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. The second half of players on here is going to be either younger guys that that could still make the cut. I just didn't have room for them on this team, or guys that I thought were just kind of matches for this environment of game. Maybe not top end role players or young budding stars, but young role players who could grow into real cogs in an Olympic type team like this. So the way I have it written down is basically I just have the 2024 roster, and then just an arrow, and then the guy I have replacing their particular spot on 28. And I kind of lined it up based on their roster and the roles that they kind of played. But I think the easiest place to start is to talk about the people that will be returning. We will be returning the 5 players that we will be returning from the 2024 USA Olympic team is going to be Devin Booker will be returning, Tyrese Halliburton will be returning, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, and Bam Adebayo all returning back. So in doing so, we have added an elite 3-and-D wing with Devin Booker back on the team, Tyrese Halliburton, the best engine in basketball from the point guard position, and that finals run I think that finals run solidified he's the best American point guard in the game. Obviously, right before the injury, I would argue that he's the best American point guard, um, pretty undoubtedly at this point in time. Um, what we're gonna run into is I also this 2024 USA Olympic team played against some of the elite size that is now overseas and on these European or on these other countries teams. Jokic for Serbia, Şengün for Turkey, Giannis for Greece, Wemby and Gobert for France, and then obviously the SARS will be a part of that France team moving forward. I'm guessing that the Team USA needs legit size, and that's a big reason why Bam is returning. Bam obviously just filled a role with this 2024 team, and then he played in a ton of double big lineups with Davis when they were out there, and they were menacing defensively. They swallowed up the paint, especially with the FIBA rules. And honestly, this team, I built this team with defense, rebounding in mind, and then just being able to swallow up teams defensively in these zones, in these with these rules where you can camp in the paint and you can be more physical with these teams. I wanted a team that was physical, that had an identity and energy about them. And I don't think there's a guy on this list that doesn't have a certain level of intensity and is willing to doesn't play smaller than their size. All these guys play their size or bigger, and or are elite athletes to play outside of their own zones. It's like when JJ Redick talks about rebounding outside of your own area a lot, and I feel like the guys that do that are like Josh Hart does it on offensive rebounds. He rebounds outside of his area because it's the long rebounds, but rebounding outside of your space in these FIBA tournaments is the box out and getting the extra tip, getting it over these other guys that are just going to hit you. It's physical. So wanted to bring Bam back for that reason. Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards. These are the guys. These are going to be the should be the leading scorers of this team. If I had to guess, where Anthony Edwards should be ready to take that leap and be the best. Him or Tatum have to be the best player in America at that point. For the American team, unless one other guy on my list makes it, or someone else comes out of nowhere in some of this rookie class. I don't have anyone from the 2026 rookie class in this list. AJ DeBonsta and Darren Peterson be that good. That'd be cool. Boozer, I don't know. But and then also some of these other guys I left out on this list. I want to talk about, I should also mention, and then since we just mentioned the guys that were returning, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum should be the best two players in America at this point. They should be our main two shot creators. These are guys that are elite jump shooters who also get to the hole. They gotta find a way to keep the offense moving and not stay in sticky iso ball, and that just doesn't play really at the Olympic level. It's got to be a certain level of movement. Obviously, you play out in and out of zones. Hopefully, Anthony Edwards over these next 3 years into 2028 is over kind of the doubling. He's getting doubled so much in Minnesota right now, and he gets frustrated by it. And he's getting better at making decisions out of it, absolutely. But we hope he's an elite 1A guy. Tatum, hopefully that the recovery is back to what he was, because this is a bad dude. This guy, yeah, it's a bad dude. These guys are all going to make the roster, not specifically because they were on the roster in 24, but because they have earned it in 2028. I want to talk about some guys that were on the 2024 roster who will not be returning at this point in time. At this point in time, I do not have LeBron James returning. I do not have Steph Curry returning. I do not have Kevin Durant returning. I do not have Joel Embiid returning. I do not have Drew Holiday returning. I do not have Anthony Davis returning. I do not have Derek White returning. So, a lot of spots. LeBron, Steph, KD, and Drew Holiday, I am all expecting retirement by 2028. The odd one out, I would say, would be Kevin Durant. It feels like LeBron and Steph LeBron probably the year after this, and then Steph probably 2 years after, if I had to guess. KD, I feel like KD could be hooping forever. If KD wants to play on this team, he finds a spot way on here, and one of these guys gets dropped off. But yeah, so those guys off the roster. Want to talk about yeah, so those guys are off. Bang, bang, boom. Where do I want to go next? I think I want to go into some of the next easiest guys to put on this team. And kind of the replacements that I had them for. Kevin Durant, if Kevin Durant's not on this team, I will say that I think the replacement in my brain for Kevin Durant, someone who just got so many easy buckets in the carousel that they would create, the swing pass that they would create from their movement. I think of Cade Cunningham, a guy that's going to be able to get them, or I actually kind of see Cade as a Joel Embiid replacement. I know that sounds weird because Cunningham's obviously a point guard, Embiid the center, and was the starting center for this team. But they would, the 24 team would just dump it down to Embiid real quick, get easy buckets in the half court. Obviously, I have yet to mention that this team is going to be coached by Eric Spoelstra instead of Steve Kerr, which also goes kind of into the mindset and the defense and the playing above your size stuff. Yeah, I think Cade Cunningham's a lock for this team. The way Cade has been this year, the development in 2025, I can't wait to see what this guy looks like in 3 years when he's been a tested guy in the playoffs, and the game's got to be so incredible by that point for Cade. So incredibly easy. A guy that the thing about Cade that I like is he obviously plays point guard in the NBA. He's going to be able to flash to these like wings in the soft spots of the zone and get in these spots and hit these turnaround fades like KD. Like he's going to hit these mid-range shots, get these spots, and he's going to be able to play above his size and above his position. Normally a point guard, I don't see a problem running Cade out there with two other point guards and making Cade play a wing position. Has the big enough size. He's physical enough to do it. I think Cade's it would be a great add to the 2028 Olympic team. The next easiest guy for me to add on to this team was Jalen Williams, J-Dub. I had penciled in taking Derek White's position. Cade Cunningham, I had taking Kevin Durant's position. I had Jalen Williams taking Derek White's position. Jalen Williams, the finals performance in 2024 was absolutely incredible, and then we find out about the broken hand or the hand injury, and he's obviously just coming back from that now. But he was third team All-NBA at 23, 24 years old. I can only imagine that guy gets better and gets more battle tested with this OKC, what they look like, whatever OKC looks like in 2028. Who knows? Maybe by that point, Jalen Williams is the guy on his own team. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if OKC has to shake up that at some point at 2028 and J-Dub is on his own team and is the guy. Yeah, so J-Dub taking Derek White. And then we get into a couple of the more, kind of the more fun ones when it comes to, like, I felt like replacing guys. The next guy I did replace was Joel Embiid's spot, and I had it listed down as Evan Mobley. I think Mobley at this point has the most potential, or the highest likelihood to be the best big man in Team USA. And we'll talk about another guy that I took off this list to keep Mobley on, because I do feel like Mobley has the higher chance to physically develop and to play in. When he jumps to get rebounds at times, it is a little wiltish in the way that he can just reach his arms are so long, he jumps up so high. It's a little wiltish in my opinion, like how he can get boards. And if he can fill out physically and really play the five, I think that makes this team super dominant. But I think I've kind of told myself I was going to stop doing that. I was going to stop doing this guy needs to bulk up to play the five. when teams run double bigs, if you're skilled enough, you should run the 4. I think Giannis has proved that you can make it work. And but I think Mobley is. But even if Mobley is the guy who plays the 4, but starts at the 5 for this team, I still like him on this team in lineups to be big and swarm teams on defense. I think it's time for me to talk about the LeBron spot that I filled, and I'm announcing my fandom. I'm a Cooper Flag stan. I know this is my second time saying it, at least on the program. Oh, just definitely caught my pen in between my legs. That was cool. I'm a Cooper Flag stan at this point. His game tonight, I'll add it. I'll be talking about it in the drop, episode 4. But his career high in points, and he's just dribbling around Anthony Davis. He's blowing him off the dribble. This guy has a different level of intensity. He's the guy that I feel like, the same way LeBron was the team intensity leader for the 24 group, I feel like Cooper Flag is that for my 28 group. The guy's only going to be 23 years old at that point. The game, I don't know how polished the game is going to look by that point, but I want that guy on my team, just strictly out of his competitiveness. Okay, and I wanted so that's what we're done with Flag. Who did I want to make? Oh, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, rewatching what he looked like in that France game. He was dominant. There was these times where France would go without having Wembanyama or Gobert on the floor, and he was just boxing out everybody. He's incredible in this game. He knocks one off the rim to save a huge bucket. Anthony Davis is so huge. They end up going to him to close out the game. They never even try and beat out there. They tried Bam, and then they weren't ever able to get a stop on Wembanyama, and so they tag Davis in there. They were also using Kevin Durant on Wemby. It was awesome. Rewatching this was so much fun. Yeah, they tried Bam, and then they go to Davis, and Davis just perfectly stabilizes the defense. And when at the end of the game, when Fournier is really trying to chuck these threes to get them back into it, Anthony Davis is just swatting them at the three-point line. He's just staying right there with Fournier and just swatting three-pointers right out of the air, not even letting them get close to the rim. I just don't think the combination of injuries and age at this point for Davis, I just don't think 2028 is in the cards for him. Yeah. The guy I have taking that place is, I think this team needs a physical stalwart down low, and a guy who has his 5 fouls. I think it's 5 fouls in the Olympics, not 6. But has his fouls and is going to go out there and be dominant on the boards and be a pseudo enforcer, be the face of our intensity. Even though you come off the bench, I would assume maybe you start at this point. Jalen Duren. What this man is doing in Detroit this year, he looks absolutely different than we've ever seen this guy. He is physically developed. I think that he could be taking this Anthony Davis spot in 2028, and he may even start on this team. I kind of had the idea of Mobley starting, being a more physically like bulkier for Mobley. I would guess by 2028 he would be probably in his late 20s at that point, or his mid to late 20s. Like, I expect Mobley to be a pretty decent size at some point. Duren is the full physical force. It's like I forget which Olympic team it is. I think it's the 92 Olympic team, when it's David Robinson, Shaq, and Ewing. It's the three of them, and where they're just talking about the pure strength that they have. That's what Duren is for this team. And the passing is really good. The rebounding is something special. I have him taking Anthony Davis's spot. The next a guy probably I should have mentioned a little bit earlier, is pretty easy to find this guy a spot. This guy will be taking Drew Holiday's role as the true Swiss Army knife point of attack defender on this team. Drew Holiday was incredible. Even in the gold medal game, he hits 2 threes, and the announcer's like, even Holiday has it going on right now. I don't know how you stop Team USA. The guy I've taken his spot is Amen Thompson. I mean, obviously, what more can I say? Physical freak. And I can't wait to see what this guy looks like in 2028. This is another 2-3 years of development at this point. If the jump shot is around, if the mid-range is elite, he's going to be able to still play this Drew Holiday role. Drew Holiday did a lot of chilling at the dunker spot, letting Bam and Embiid not have to play in the dunker spot, could play in the corners and stuff like that. Amen Thompson is incredible at playing out of the dunker spot now with Houston, let alone all these other guys that he could just sneak behind the defense because they can't keep an eye on him and they can't keep a body on him. He'd be perfect. He would be at the front of all these defensive groups. Absolutely. The last guy I haven't mentioned replacing is Steph. Steph is clearly the hero of the gold medal game. He hits all the threes. The French announcers said the devil named Curry. He's clearly the engine of this 24 team. His movement drives a lot of their actions, and then their carousel, like continuing to talk about their carousel and what the threat of him means. Clearly, that's not something that is in the league right now. Anthony Edwards may be the closest thing to it, but it's not the off-ball movement. He does it off the dribble. The guy that I feel like can be an engine and can be the true spark plug, and I have this guy over other guards that are better than him now. I would say that Jalen Brunson is better than this guy now. I would say that Jaylen Brown is better at this guy now. Donovan Mitchell, I would say, is better than this guy now. But Tyrese Maxey, it's the shooting, it's the speed, it's the handle, and it's the intensity, but it's also the smile. Like, I feel like he is the smile of this group. That sounds so odd to say, but he has a great smile. And it just but his intensity is also just elite as well. The amount of space that he eats up on his closeouts and that he attracts with the jump shot between, like, I picture like lineups where him and Halliburton are running in transition together, and it's maybe like leading a second unit of guys. There's so many different there's so many different lineups for this. Like, just to fully go back for just list everyone. This is a 12-player lineup. This is the same way they had it in 2024. We have Bam staying for Bam, Tatum staying for Tatum, Edwards staying for Edwards, Halliburton staying for Halliburton, Booker staying for Booker. And then we have Jalen Williams taking a spot, Jalen Duren taking a spot, Amen Thompson taking a spot, Evan Mobley taking a spot, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, and Cooper Flagg will make up the 2028 Olympic team. And just to kind of like if I'm fully guessing what a starting lineup looks like with this team, I'm thinking about like the way that typically these Olympic and FIBA tournaments it's a slower pace. It's not real run out and gun. So I can imagine not starting Maxey or Halliburton, and those guys are your engine off the bench. I think at this point Edwards is a guarantee starter. So I'm just going to put a 1 next to him. Tatum, guaranteed starter at this point. I think he's at 2. And I would say Booker is also a guaranteed starter at this point. So either Edwards becomes an elite ball handler and he's our 1, and we kind of do a lot of bringing up the ball, switching it up, beating the press together. So we at least need a 5. I think this is where I have Mobley. Mobley, is one of the 5 starters. And what I run into now is if I had to add a guy, I think I'm adding Cade. And then Cade would be the point guard. The true point guard. Anthony Edwards would be the 2. Devin Booker would be the 3. Jason Tatum at power forward. Or at the 4. And then Evan Mobley at the 5 center. And then off the bench, you get to rotate a cool, sick defensive weapons. You get to send in Amen Thompson and Cooper Flagg in at guys, and Jalen Duren goes in there and gets to eat up rebounds against a backup center, and maybe J Dub ends up starting on this team, and Booker comes off the bench to just add more shooting to the bench. But yeah, I guess if I wanted to talk about the weaknesses of this team, what they could be missing, and also just some of the guys that I left off this list that I feel like could have fit, didn't make the team that could fix some of these problems. I already mentioned Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, any other guys. Paulo Banchero did not make this team. He kind of runs into he has to be better than J-Dub, the Swiss Army knife of Amen Thompson, the future of what I'm betting on Cooper Flagg. I'm betting that Cooper Flagg is better than Paulo Banchero. Why do I keep doing that? By 2028. Some of the guys that didn't make the team that I just had written down because they were kind of I was going around the league. Donovan Clingan. Honestly, Donovan Clingan is the Jalen Duren archetype that I'm looking for. I think Duren is better than Clingan right now, and I think I see the future for Duren to be this successful moving forward. Clingan's still very good. I expect him to be... He was a part of... no, he wasn't. I was thinking of Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler was a part of the FIBA team that ended up losing, but Clingan could play the big role that Duren's playing, kind of in there for spot minutes. Con Knipple could be a wing that gets added to this team. Just the 3-point shooting and the handle to be able to self-create. Same thing for Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson would be another J-Dub, Cooper Flagg replacement. I feel like one in that area of guys. Then I have Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy, I would love to make... Trey Murphy would have to force his way onto this team. But I would love to see what Trey Murphy... If Trey Murphy's good enough to get on this team, I can't wait to see what that looks like, because I think he could be... He's a guy that gets to his shot so easy, so insanely athletic, that if he puts it all together and is an all-star level guy, and the way he can defend and use his length, he could fit on this team pretty easily. Stephon Castle, another guy in sort of the mold of Cunningham, of a guy who is a guard, but I would feel comfortable playing him on the wing and just making good decisions. Austin Reeves was part of the thinking for me. Maybe Reeves instead of Maxey looks better in 2028, but I think Maxey's an MVP candidate now. I can't imagine that guy gets worse. Obviously, hopefully no injuries, but that guy's pretty elite. I think I'd take Maxey's future over Reeves' future at this point. And then another guy I had on here is Jabari Smith. Is more like maybe a KD replacement kind of idea. A guy or another 3-and-D guy who can rebound outside of his space. Is good. Another big 6'10" guy can rebound, kind of the same mold of KD or Jalen Johnson on this list. There's other guys that I'm not obviously not mentioning on the short list that I kind of cut off, but I kind of went down a rabbit hole watching this 2024 team play, and I want to make some future predictions. I know these guys are having a moment right now, But I think the future of USA basketball is pretty interesting with a core that doesn't really have one of the elite centers in comparison, or elite big men compared to the world, with Giannis, Jokic, Şengün, Wemby, all these guys playing for these other countries, and in wherever Embiid decides to play. Moving forward, Embiid doesn't make this team. I'm assuming that he's gonna play for another national team because he's kind of made that apparent that that's something that he wants to kind of do. Karl Anthony Towns will be for Team Dominican Republic, I'm guessing, in 2028. So obviously he won't make this this USA team. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. This is my 2028 predictions for the USA Olympics. I can't wait to look back at this and be wrong, because all these guys are playing for different countries, or maybe there's a new crop that comes in 2027 and it's just better. Like there's still got like Darren Peterson, AJ DeBonsta could be elite level guys, and like this team doesn't have Dylan Harper. Like there is a litany of guys that I could see making this team. But I think just looking at a roster with the guards on the team being Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese Halliburton, these these are elite guards, and then the wings, being surrounded by wings that can play defense, shoot, that Swiss Army knives all around with Flag, Booker, Amen Thompson, Jalen Williams, Tatum, and then you get to your tweeners that we have, like Bam, who's a tweener. Booker's also a tweener between that guard and the forward. But Tatum should be the lead guy, but then you have Bam as a tweener to play 4 minutes, and then it's Mobley and Duren down low. I think this could be a special group. I can't wait to see 2028. If there's other guys that you think I left off, or you would switch out some guys, let me know down in the comments. I don't know when this gets released. I'm kind of winging a record at 2 in the morning. So hopefully this is somewhat coherent, because this is the end of the episode. So thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Drop Step, this special edition, which was a little bit 2024 USA men's basketball closure for me, I feel like, and then looking towards the future of the 2028 Olympic team, and seeing if Team USA can repeat against the other countries who are gearing up for an arms race. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate your time. Pieces, deuces, have a good one.